the forbidden island that killed a missionary. Somewhere in the Bay of Bengal, far from the crowded ports of India and the busy shipping lanes of the Andaman Sea, lies an island that seems carved out of myth. From above, it looks like a paradise. Dense green forests pressing against untouched white sands, waves breaking against razor-sharp coral reefs, and a silence so complete it feels eternal. Yet this island is not a paradise, is a fortress. A fortress guarded not by stone walls or soldiers, but by a people who have rejected the modern world for thousands of years. This is North Sentinel Island, the most forbidden place on Earth. The island is home to the Sentinelese, one of the last truly uncontacted tribes known to exist. They are a people whose lives have not been touched by the inventions of electricity, engines, or even agriculture, as most of the world knows it. They live as hunters and gatherers, taking fish from the sea, fruits from the forest, and honey from the treetops. Their bows and arrows are their lifeblood, their protection, their constant reminder to outsiders that they are not to be disturbed. For centuries, they have remained a mystery, speaking a language no one else on Earth understands, and carrying within them a culture older than empires, older than nations, older perhaps than history itself. Many have tried to reach them. In the 19th century, the British, hungry to catalogue and control every corner of their empire, captured a few Sentinelese, dragging them to the colonial settlement at Port Blair. Most died within days, their bodies unable to withstand the diseases of outsiders. The survivors were hurriedly returned to the island, but the damage was done. From then on, the Sentinels greeted intruders with a hail of arrows, ensuring that no foreign foot would ever again claim their beaches without bloodshed. Decades later, anthropologists, adventurers, and even governments attempted contact. Some sailed close and dropped gifts: bananas, coconuts, even pigs. Others hovered in helicopters, observing the tribesmen through binoculars. The results were always the same: raised bows, sharp spears, and a warning that the island was not open to the outside world. By the late 20th century, India declared the island and its surrounding waters strictly off-limits. A 5-kilometer exclusion zone was drawn round its shores. Ships were forbidden to approach. Military patrols circled, not to conquer, but to protect. The Sentinelese were to be left alone, not out of fear alone, but out of respect and survival, for even a simple cold could wipe them out in days. They had no immunity to the sickness of the modern world. And yet, in 2018, a man named John Allen Chau believed he had been chosen to break this barrier. John Chau was young, just 26 years old, born in Texas, raised in Washington state. He was an adventurer, a lover of the outdoors, a traveler who sought the edges of maps. But above all, he was a missionary. To John, faith was not something to be kept, it was something to be carried, something to be shared, even to the ends of the earth. In the Sentinelese, he saw not an untouchable tribe, but a people living in spiritual darkness, cut off not only from the modern world, but from the message he believed could save them. For years, Chau studied, prepared, and dreamed of this mission. He trained his body for survival, practiced medicine, and learned how to live in the wild. He read everything he could about the island and its people, about their hostility, their isolation, their history. He prayed, he wrote, and he convinced himself that his destiny was to set foot on the one island forbidden to mankind. In his journal, he scribbled words that would later haunt the world. This is not a pointless thing. The eternal lives of this tribe are at hand. In November of 2018, he made his move. Arriving in the Andaman Islands, the last civilized outpost before the Forbidden Zone, he gathered supplies: a waterproof Bible, medical kits, fishing gear, and small gifts he thought might open the hearts of the islanders. Scissors, fish, safety pins. He knew the laws. He knew the Indian government had declared it illegal to approach North Sentinel. He knew others had died trying, but in his mind, he was answering a higher law, one greater than any human government. On the night of November 15th, under a starless sky, John bribed a group of local fishermen to take him past the exclusion zone. Their small wooden boat cut quietly across the water, the engines silenced to avoid detection. As dawn approached, they dropped him off at a distance, their faces heavy with fear. They warned him not to go closer. They told him the island was death. But John stepped into his small kayak, clutching his Bible, and began paddling toward the unknown. The first glimpse of the island up close was breathtaking. The trees rose like walls, the forest humming with life. The beach stretched out pale and untouched, but it was not empty. Figures appeared at the tree-lined dark silhouettes, with bows drawn tight. John raised his Bible, his voice breaking the silence. "My name is John. I love you, and Jesus loves you." His words carried across the water, strange sounds to ears that had never heard English. The response came swift and sharp, arrows slicing the air. One struck his Bible, burying itself into the pages, as though silencing the words mid-sentence. His heart pounded as he scrambled back into the kayak, retreating to the safety of the sea. Somehow, he was still alive. That night, back on the fisherman's boat, he wrote feverishly in his journal, "I am scared. Watching the sunset, it's beautiful. I wonder if this will be the last sunset I see." But fear did not change his resolve. To him, turning back was not an option. He believed his purpose was greater than his survival. On November 16th, he returned. From the fishing boat anchored in the distance, the men watched in silence as Chau paddled once more toward the beach. He stepped onto the sand, holding his Bible high, words spilling from his lips. Figures emerged again, moving quickly now, with determination. The fishermen could see them raising their bows, surrounding him. Chau did not run. He did not retreat. Then the arrows flew. In moments, his body crumpled to the sand. The Sentinelese dragged him further inland, his figure disappearing into the trees. The fishermen turned their eyes away. They did not intervene. They knew it was over. News of Chau's death exploded across the world within days. Some called him a martyr, a man who gave his life for his faith, who walked knowingly into danger for the sake of souls he believed were lost. Others called him reckless, irresponsible, even selfish, accusing him of endangering not only himself, but the very people he sought to save. For what if he had carried with him a virus, a sickness, invisible, yet deadly? Something the Sentinelese immune systems had never known. His mission, critics said, was not salvation, it was a potential death sentence for an entire tribe. The Indian authorities attempted to retrieve his body. Helicopters hovered over the island, cameras zooming in on the beaches where Chau had fallen. Patrols searched the waters, hoping the tide had carried him back. But each attempt to approach was met with the same warning arrows launched from the trees, defiance etched in every shot. To set foot on the island again would mean more death. In the end, John Allen Chau's body was never recovered. His remains rest somewhere on that forbidden shore, buried in the sands of a world that was never his to enter. North Sentinel Island remains today what it has always been: silent, secretive, and untouchable. The Sentinelese continue their lives as they have for thousands of years, their fires glowing in the night, their arrows ready at the shore. To them, Chau was not a martyr, not a messenger, only an intruder, one of countless outsiders who dared to cross a line drawn long before history began. And perhaps, in their eyes, they were right. For the Sentinelese do not seek the world. They do not seek salvation or technology or the promises of outsiders. They seek only to survive, to guard the last untouched corner of humanity. They are not a people lost in darkness. They are a people who chose their own light. The story of John Allen Chau is not just the story of one man's death on a distant shore. It is the story of two worlds colliding, of belief against resistance, of faith against survival. It is a reminder that not all places are meant to be reached, not all mysteries solved, not all barriers broken. As the waves continue to break against the reefs of North Sentinel, the island whispers its warning across the sea. Some places are not meant to be entered. Some people are not meant to be touched. And some secrets, no matter how tempting, must remain forbidden.